Why morality is subjective with God. Morality. Morality is the system of judging what is good and evil which is important in society. Many claim that God is necessary for objective morality, but if morality was based on God, this would actually make morality subjective. Objective versus subjective morality. Objective morality means something is good or evil regardless of context, time, or location. Subjective morality is the idea that morals are not universal but dependent on individuals, cultures, and personal feelings, and the truth of morality can change. Divine command theory. Divine command theory is the idea that actions are judged purely by what God commands according to his nature. God's nature. Traditionally, it is believed that God is goodness itself, meaning the essence and nature of God is identical to goodness, and what is evil is whatever is against his nature. Supposed objectivity. Since morality is based on God's nature and what he commands, this supposedly makes this objective. However, there are problems with this. Euthyphro dilemma. The Euthyphro dilemma was written about by Plato in the perspective of Socrates and addresses the problem of morality based on God. Are morally good things approved of by God because they are already morally good, or are they morally good only because they were approved of by God in the first place? Morality contingent. The problem arises that if what is morally good depends on God, then anything God orders could become good, which would make morality subjective and meaningless. True objective morality would mean certain actions are good or evil regardless of what any being thinks. Lawlessness. If morality is purely only dependent on what God orders, then God could logically order any action to be moral, even ones we would consider immoral ordinarily, like violence and slavery, which would make morality completely subjective. Examples of violence in Bible. The idea that God would order violent actions is possible, as he has ordered many violent actions in the Bible, such as the command to kill Isaac and slaughter entire nations like the Canaanites and Amalekites. Slavery. Throughout the Bible, God commands slavery, which shows that the morality based on God can sometimes include these acts. Divine justification. If someone has been justified by God, then no one could question their actions, which abandons the idea of morality being objective, where our actions can be condemned universally across all contexts. Examples of violence today. This subjective morality can be seen in the world today, as many Christian groups use God's authority to justify their harmful actions, such as the KKK, Russian Army with the Orthodox Church, the Central and Eastern African Lord's Resistance Army, the Christchurch shooter, and child killers like Esther Collejos. Morality becomes arbitrary. If actions become moral after being approved by God, then any action could be moral or immoral if circumstances changes, if orders change which they have before. Therefore, morality does not become about actions being truthfully right or wrong objectively, but about certain orders that are subjective on what God orders. Moral facts become impossible if morality is based on God, who can command anything. Then moral facts become impossible. No one can make statements like killing and slavery is wrong, since God can command it in certain circumstances. If these circumstances can change the morality, then it is subjective on God and so not objective. Sinlessness of God. Morality being subjective also raises issues for the sinlessness of God. If anything God orders is good, then that makes his sinlessness meaningless, as any action would not be against his nature. Sinless means to not have committed a sin, but no one can name anything that would be a sin for God, as anything he could possibly do is automatically moral. Thanks for watching. I will make my next video about the problem of divine hiddenness.